Hello, this is Laura Wogzogen, your math instructor for this semester. This is a final video for project number 3. Our first thing that we should have looked at by now is going to be the project 3 handout, making sure that we go through and we understand the expectations set forth by the project. You should have also watched the project 3 intro video, checked out the example ideas, looked at the website options that you had, but you could have also selected a different website that's not listed, or you could have been doing a survey or an observational study where you got your own data. The next thing you should have looked at is the grading rubric for project 3. Then from there, reading about the proposal for project 3, submitting your proposal by the due date, and then also having it marked as completed. So some of us did receive incompletes, and you might have had to resubmit it multiple times just to get that approved. This is just me making sure that your topic fits and everything's explained in the way that it needs to be, and that your hypothesis makes sense, the data collecting methods make sense, and any other issues that we might have been met. The next thing that you should have already completed on time is our project 3 introduction. So this is again about a paragraph long, and it should have your hypothesis clearly stated with statistical wording, and also a great explanation of your project along with a lot of those informations like your sample size, the purpose of this project, and other information about how you're collecting your data and what your population is. In addition, for the project 3 introduction, you should have been assigned 2 other classmates to read their introduction and give them some feedback. This is a great way to have another pair of eyes looking at your project and seeing if they understand what the introduction that you wrote is displaying. So definitely read through all the comments that I left and also that your classmates have left for your project. Again, that one should be marked complete. If it's still marked incomplete, make sure that you go back and you read all those comments and make the adjustments needed. Likewise, if your project introduction was already marked complete, you still want to go back because there might be some comments that your classmates left or that I left that were small, that were just little changes that need to be done before the final submission. So the next thing that we had was looking at the statistics and calculations for the project 3. This is using StatDisk, and this is where the majority of the points are going to be. So from here, you should have watched the video about this, and then also submitted your statistics and calculations. Make sure that you read all the comments. This should also be marked as complete. And if there is anything that had to be adjusted, added, changed, that you made those adjustments prior to submitting your final project. Make sure again to read those comments and resubmit if anything is asking you to do that. The next thing that we have before the actual turning in of project number 3 is going to be our checklist. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. This is just for you to reference to make sure that you have everything. So this is a self-assessment just to make sure all material for project 3 is included. So you can go through. It does say projects need to be typed and explanations must be written in sentences and in paragraph form. So it's almost like this should be an essay but with a lot of math in it. And so we have our introduction paragraph. This should be checked off. We have not yet looked at the data. So this is something that you want to make sure that you have a table set up, or if your amount of data is too large, that you set up part of a table with a few of those data values and then having a link to where I can access the remaining part of the data. From there, the statistics and calculation part, which is the majority, is going to be confidence intervals. Again, the big thing that a lot of times students forget are going to be checking those constraints. And then from there, test of normality. This is in section 6.5, so make sure you go back and look at those notes, but you should have 3 things that you are checking. Your hypothesis test, and then we also have the last part on here, which is going to be the conclusion. So everything should be checked off by now, except for the conclusion and the data. So for the conclusion, you need to clearly state what you can conclude from your hypothesis test. So this should match to what you have in your introduction. that hypothesis is what you were testing in the statistics part. And you need to, sometimes it doesn't, we cannot conclude that what we thought happened, and so you need to state that, or maybe what you thought would be true is. And then from there, explain any flaws in the projects or ways to improve this project. A lot of times this might just be collecting additional data, or maybe you only collected from friends and family rather than collecting from a larger population. And so stating your hypothesis, if it was supported or not. So a few things in here to talk about and to wrap up that project. Again, it should be about a paragraph long, and again discussing what you found, and then also discussing ways that we can improve this or flaws that you might have encountered. The next thing that's on here is going to be just the part of the rubric where it is excellent. So the entire rubric is posted earlier in the module, but this is going to have a breakdown of just the excellent, just to kind of look at it one more time. Again, making sure we met all those deadlines, and also noticing that organization and data. Data is part of this. I do need that in order to check your statistics and calculations. So definitely, if you have any questions, please stop by office hours or send me an email, and I'm excited to read everyone's final projects. Good luck!